he had done that, history would be different. That's how important sincerity is. History would have changed without this man. And all of us have that quality, have that ability to be true to ourselves and true to what we believe, and to talk about it openly. He died for his beliefs, and he knew the consequences, and he accepted them. And he was able to be one of the greatest people in all of history because of his sincerity. I'm going to give you guys another example now of someone who was sincere. I'm in no way equating this person to Martin Luther King Jr. It's just a different approach to looking at sincerity. The person that's going to be on the screen behind me is Pink, and she is a sincere artist. This is a completely different approach. She hasn't necessarily changed history with her sincerity, but she is sincere. She talks about what she believes in. She talks about what she knows, and she tells people about it. She's not afraid to speak up for what she believes in. She writes lyrics that deal with issues, and she wrote this song that's called Dear Mr. President, and basically it's a letter that's addressing the president, and in the letter she's talking about issues. She's doing exactly what she should. She's talking about things that matter, things that are important to her, and that's what you have to do when you're public speaking, is talk about things that are important to you. Talk about the issues that matter to you, and she's famous because of it. She's a great artist because she's able to put her feelings out there and talk about what she believes in a different form, obviously, than public speaking. But so these are some people that I think are sincere. These are just two examples. There's plenty of other people in the world that are sincere. I just wanted to give you a couple different aspects of it. And now we're going to move on to people who are insincere. What happens when you're insincere? What are the consequences of that? So I'm going to ask you another question. It's, what would you do if you cheated on your partner and they guessed it? Do you A, say nope, didn't happen? Do you justify it in some way? Say, well, I did it because, or do you C, admit your faults? I think at this point you probably know the correct answer, so we won't go through those. I think you know you're supposed to admit your faults. And so I'm going to give you guys some examples of people currently, recently, and people we all have seen in the news and media who have been insincere, and what happened because of their insincerity, what the consequences were of that. So the first person that I'd like to talk about is Chris Lee. He's a representative that just recently, it was like last week, last Wednesday or Thursday or something, he resigned from office. Why did he resign from office? Why did he quit the thing he loved? Because of a scandal. Because he was hypocritical, and he sent pictures to this lady, and they were shirtless pictures. So here's a guy, he goes to these things, he goes to these public events with his wife and his kid, and he's portraying his family, and that's good. You know what, if you believe in family values, good. That's sincere. If that's what you believe in, good. But then, if you're gonna go send pictures to other women, not so good. That cancels out everything you just said. That cancels out everything you proved to those people about your family. Now, people don't listen to him anymore. People don't respect him. And then, let's see, the next person I'm going to talk about, next person I'm going to put on the screen, I want you guys, what's the first thing you think of when you see this person?
Murderer.
Yes, murderer, thank you. That's the first thing you think of, right? You don't think, oh, wait, this is a great football player. You don't think he was a great football player, he was a great actor, he was a great broadcaster. You don't think of the fact that he was the only player to ever rush 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. Do you think of those things? That's amazing. The only one to ever do that. No, that's not what you think of. You think of the fact that he was convicted, or that he was accused of murder. Nobody even proved that he did it. They accused him, and then what happened? His credibility was gone. And then he writes this book, oh, if I did it. That helps his credibility a lot too. Is that very sincere? I don't think so. When you don't have sincerity, when you forget your sincerity, when people don't give you credit anymore, when you lose your credibility, everything else you're doing right goes out the window. So you better start with sincerity. You better have that first to have anything else going right for you. The last person that I want to talk about is Jim Bakker. This guy, he's a televangelist. He goes on TV, broadcasting to I don't know how many people, millions of people probably, and he's preaching the gospel. That's good. Let's talk about God and religion. That's good. If that's what you believe in, you preach it, you say it. I'm all for that. That's sincere, right? But if you're not living that life, there's a problem. People are going to figure that out real quick. So he starts selling these memberships to hotels. He sells like 1,000 of them. And then he only gives out 500. So now he's stealing. He steals $3.4 million. I don't know what his Bible says, but mine says don't steal. So I think a lot of people probably figure this out. And then he goes on, he rapes this girl. Her name was Jessica Han, and then he denies it. So now he's stealing, and he's lying, and he's sentenced to prison because of it for 45 years. So now he loses his television career. He loses his church that he's a minister over. And you know what's worse? He loses his wife. And then finally, he loses all credibility. He loses supporter. He loses everyone. Everything that was ever important to him was gone because this guy, he wasn't sincere. How would you feel if you were a believer in this guy? How would you feel if you were sitting there listening to him and you believed in him? You believed in what he was telling you, and then all of a sudden, you figured out, I was just lied to. I was just duped by this guy. How much of an idiot would you feel like? I would feel like an idiot. You don't want to make your audience feel like an idiot ever. You want to be credible. You want them to trust you. You want to keep that trust always. You want to talk about what you believe in, but you better do what you believe in. You better feel it and live it. So, to sum it all up, what have I said to you today? I want you to be sincere. That's my point. I want you to be sincere. If that's the only thing you remember me saying, it's this. Be sincere. Mean what you're talking about. Care about what you're talking about, and other people will care about it too. I want you to accept that there are consequences for being sincere, but embrace them. Martin Luther King embraced them, didn't he? And I want you to talk about what you know, talk about what you believe, and don't be insincere ever. You've seen the consequences of what happens when you're insincere. You've seen how you can lose everything you care about, everyone you care about. You lose credibility, you lose trust. That's not what you want. You want to be trusted. And so the final thing that I have to say to you is that sincerity is the easiest thing to do in public speaking, but it's one of the most important. It's a stepping stone to all the other ones. You need to start with your sincerity. And you know how you do that? You be yourself. It's the easiest thing because it's being you. You talk about what you believe, you talk about what you know, and you mean it. And have the confidence in yourself to be sincere.